Today we're going to talk about exporting different file types out of Adobe Photoshop. Now, dealing with clients, dealing with your own personal work, you're going to find that you need multiple file types depending on what you are doing. Your clients are going to need a myriad of different file types and they don't even know what they need. When they go to printers, the printers are going to ask for specific file types. Your client's going to look at them like, what is that? So we want to be able to create any and all file types that they may need and any file types that we may need. So to start today, we're going to click on New File and just create a new file. Once we hit New File, we're going to go over here to where it says Photo, and we're just going to click on that first option that says Default Photoshop Size. Now on the right hand side, I want you to name this Export so that you know what it is. Underneath that, I want you to see width and height. We're going to leave these the exact same. Now, when making your document, you kind of need to know where your document's going to go. If this is going to be something that gets printed, you want to change this color mode to CMYK and make sure that you're dealing with those colors specifically. If you're doing something that is going to digital, so if it's going to be on a website or on an app, you need to change that to RGB, but this can be changed in the program too, and we'll look at that in just a moment. So once you've got what I've got, just hit create and that'll create your document. All right, so this is your document. Whatever you have up here, whatever artwork is going on is perfectly fine. I want you to grab your shape tool and I want you to drag a shape across this and color it whatever color you would like it to be. So change it to a color, don't just pick black or white. I want you to deselect that, grab your type tool and click right in the middle and just type the number 1. Make this big. You can use Command T or these free transform boxes so you can see it. Now when you're working in Adobe Photoshop, occasionally you'll be working with multiple artboards. Currently, we only see the one. So I want to go over here to my Move tool. Click and hold on that and go to your Artboard tool. When you do that, it's going to ask you to make an artboard first. So I'm just going to match up this box to the exact same size as the one I have here, clicking and dragging to make that box. Once there, you'll get these little plus signs. I want you to click one more so that you've got another artboard over here. And I'm going to grab my Move tool and I'm going to grab both of the elements over on the left-hand side here and just duplicate them to the right, holding Option or Alt. Now, once they're over here, I'm going to change the color and the number on this just so I can see these a little differently. So I'll select that shape, I'll go to my Properties panel here, and I'll just pick another color, whatever color works for you. And I'll retype this number to a different number so I can see the difference between the two. Now, your most important document that you're going to export every time is your Photoshop document, your .PSD. That is this document that has all your layers and everything you need to work with this document. So this is the most important one. I'm going to go up to the top and hit File, Save As. Now when I do that, I get this little Save As dialog. This may look a little different if you're on a Mac computer, but the elements are still the same. Okay. First is how you name your file. I want this to be called export. Now, if you were on a Mac, it would probably say export.psd here. Never mess with that .psd. Leave that the exact same. Never retype that. Go down and find where you're going to save. So I'm going to save into my exporting folder. You could save to your downloads, your desktop. You can save wherever you want as long as you know where it is. Now down at the bottom, you should see an option on a Mac that says make a new folder. If you need to make a new folder, it's there. Now on Mac and PC, you might have an option that says save to cloud documents. If you click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to save this document to your Creative Cloud. Now the cloud will move with you no matter what computer you're on. If you open the Adobe Creative Cloud, your files will be in there. So you could save this here if you're moving between multiple computers. But if you're saving this in a way to send to somebody, you need to save it onto your computer itself. So the Save to Creative Cloud is a great way to save it for yourself as a backup, but I always recommend having the actual file on your computer as well, and I'll click on that down here on your computer. Now, PSD Photoshop document is the most important. When you've got it named, you can hit Save, hit OK on the Photoshop options, And then when it actually exports, it should come up into your downloads folder. Now it should come into your actual document like this, where you can see it. Typically it'll have a little PS right there on that icon, but that is your PSD file. You need that to be able to edit anything at a later date. So that is your most important file in the set. Now let's look at different things we can save. So let's go up to File, Save As again. Now underneath where it says Save As Type, on Mac it'll say Format here. We can see a few different file types in here. The main one to look at is the one that says Photoshop PDF. A PDF is a portable document format, and it is one of the most common file types for printing graphics. So if you need that PDF, it's under File, Save As. Now when I hit Save here, and I'm saving to the same location with the same name, I'll hit Save. It should come up and give me these options to choose for a dialog. I can alter this PDF to do different things. I can change the quality of that up here. So if I'm sending this to a client and I don't want them to just grab it and run to the printer without paying me, I'll send a small file size. That also moves quicker through email. Over on the left-hand side, I can see different options for output or compression, and you can kind of alter these as needed depending on what you're doing. So I can't say, every time under general you have to embed pages thumbnails, because you might not need that options. When you click on Save PDF, hit yes on this, it'll save that into your exports. So again, there it is, that's my PDF. So what other file types can we save? What other file types do we need? If we're doing stuff for web, we need things like JPEGs or PNGs, things that have invisible backgrounds. These things will come up a lot for you. So under File, instead of going to Save As, I'm going to go a little further down to where it says Export. And here you see a lot of options for how to export your different things. So if you do a quick export as a PNG, it'll export this whole document as a PNG. So again, you have to make sure you're saving it to the right location. Hit Select Folder, and it'll save that as a PNG. Notice when it does that though, it saves 2 PNGs. It's not just one file anymore. It's each artboard saving as its own thing. So that's important to remember, because if you save it in other ways, it won't do that. So up at the top, let's go to File, Export again. Underneath this, I do want to look at some of the other options. So you'll see Artboard to Files, you'll see Render Video down here, or Paths to Illustrator. These are different ways that you can play with this if you're moving between Illustrator and Photoshop, or if you're creating videos. But most of what you're going to need is going to be right here under Export As. So File, Export, Export As. On the left-hand side, you can select which artboards you want to export. So if you only want artboard 2, you can do that. Notice that they're being named artboard 1 and 2. Let me just cancel this real quick. If I go to my layers panel and I look over here real quick, I can see that these artboards are named artboard 1 and 2. If I double click on that and name that anything else, then that will come in as how that file will be named. So we'll see that as I do that this time. So File, Export, Export As. Over here on the left, you see that file is now called anything else. So when you name your artboards, you're naming your files. Over on the right-hand side, you have the option for PNG, JPEG, and GIF, however you want to say it. Most of the time, you're going to live in this PNG or JPEG option. So if you click on PNG or JPEG, they work much the same. So really what you see over here is on PNGs, you can offer up a transparent background, whereas JPEGs do not give that option. JPEGs ask for the quality that you want. You can adjust your width and height of your document, how large your document is right here if you would like. You can certainly do that. When you're done, hit Export down at the bottom, and it's going to ask you where you want to save this. Now again, things work a little different between Mac and PC, but it's basically the same thing. Right here, it's going to ask you what you want to name it and where you want it to go if you're on a Mac. So make sure that you're saving to the right location, that exporting folder that I have, or wherever you want to save it. Hit Select Folder, and then that will export that out as JPEGs. They look a lot like your PNGs. There's very little difference. It just depends on what you're doing, where they're going, what file types you need. Now, when it comes to dealing with print, you need CMYK. When it comes to dealing with digital, you're talking about RGB. And if you look up here at the top, you can see which color mode you're in your tab. It'll tell you right there. So I'm in RGB. Everything I just saved is fine for digital. If I want to change this to CMYK, I'll go to Image, Mode, and change that to CMYK right here. You might notice a little bit of a color shift when this happens. And it's going to ask you if you want to merge or not merge. Never merge. Don't merge. Hit OK on this option. You see the color shift a little bit. The difference in the color modes is pretty substantial in certain colors. You want to make sure you're in the right color mode. Adjust things as need be here before you export. So same thing, File, Export, Export As, save it wherever you need to save it, select all or just one, whatever you need to export. Everything you're going to need in this is under File, Save As, or File, Export, Export As. Now, when dealing with your clients aren't going to know what file types they need. Very seldom do I meet clients that even know the difference between a JPG and a PNG or have even heard of those terms. So you want to save multiple files for your clients. When you offload all of your work onto your clients, you should send them a folder with every file type you can think that they may need in the future. So that way they're not calling you 3 months from now saying, hey, I'm at the printers right now and I look pretty stupid because I don't have the right file. If your client thinks you just made them look stupid, they're less likely to call you for more work in the future. So make sure that your client is ready with everything they need in this folder system. So save anything and everything that you can. That way they have everything they may potentially need in the future. So what did we cover today? We looked at JPEGs, we looked at PNGs, we looked at PDFs, we looked at PSDs. We looked at how to save these onto the Creative Cloud as well as onto your computer. We talked about the different color modes and what they're used for. We also looked at how we deal with clients and how we make sure that they're happy with what we've sent them. That's your daily dose of design. If this has helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.